This is the AOC Sports High School Football Preview Show.
Friday Night Rivals, we are here at AOC for our AOC pregame show, week number 7, right?
Yeah.
We're never sure. We're never sure. 'Cause it's week 0, week 1, it just depends. But it's we're kind of like 8.
It's week 8.
All right.
Week 8.
Well, that's why we have the doctor with us,
Yeah.
chiming in from the
Dr. Healy.
The side. We're back on the hill tonight. So last week we were in 5A as we had Gulf Shores taking on Williamson at Ladd, and really a game that got away from Williamson quickly. But wow, we look at that Gulf Shores team and we're like, okay, they can really put some points up in a hurry on a lot of teams.
So they're well coached, they're well schemed, and then they've got some players, man. And Ronnie Royal, he just looks like I heard you talking about it after the game, and he just looks like he's as complete a player as we've seen around here.
Yeah, that utility.
Heather Healy, by the way, from the sideline
Yes.
to the doctor chair here in our first segment at AOC.
Dr. Healy has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? No, but I think that utility player, I mean, he is just he was on it, and he knew what to do every single time, and that offense really rallied around him every single time. It was really cool to see. He's fast, efficient. One of the best. And I mean, he's going to go. I mean, he had the Alabama A's in the gloves. So I mean, he
Very subtle there.
No big deal.
The game of football does not confuse Mr. Royal.
I mean, but what a luxury as a coach to have. And it's not like they just turn around and hand it to him 40 times a night. You know, they got so many other weapons, but just what a luxury to have. Anytime it's in his hands, the game can just change.
Yeah, and so it wasn't close going into the fourth quarter, and they simply did a like a stretch play. And Williamson's got pretty fast defense. They've got good athletes over there. Nobody came close. He was in the end zone before you looked up. So that was certainly maybe beyond the beginning of the end, because that game, like you said, got out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah, Williamson continuing to struggle to put points on the board offensively. Defensively, they played really well. I think obviously Gulf Shores the most potent offense they had seen so far here. But I think the one thing that we just kept saying during the broadcast too, I mean, they start a 7th grader. They start an 8th grader on defense, 5 sophomores. I mean, and that defense been playing great. I mean, Antonio Coleman, and you talked about it there, he's like, okay, we're kind of tearing it down to the studs a bit. This is how we're gonna rebuild it going forward, and I bet they respond to last week's challenge.
I think they will. When I was in 7th grade, I didn't belong with the 7th grade team, let alone the varsity. So good to that young man. But you're right. I mean, that's extreme to have somebody that's. But the kid he kind of acquitted himself pretty well. We've never seen a 7th grader on a varsity field before.
No, and started at defensive end in 5A football. So this week we've got Spanish Fort. We're back on the hill, back in 6A. Spanish Fort taking on McGill. Of course, we've seen Spanish Fort 3 times this season already, and they've kind of gone through the gauntlet of the 6A schedule and their non-region games as well. And then now you've got a McGill team coming on. They've won 4 in a row, and now they're getting ready to kind of really come into the meat of their schedule. But again, we see those top 4 teams in 6A all kind of bunched up, and 4 really good football teams there.
Something's about to give, right? Yeah. And that something is about to give is going to be tonight. As far as these 2 teams, McGill and Spanish Fort, and McGill, well-coached, talent. Anthony Eager are going to be our guest here today. So they've got some players, and they've got tradition for sure. So let's get it on, huh?
Yeah, excited to be back on the hill, but I mean, I tell you what, when we were there last time, when they were playing against Daphne, correct? That was the loudest stadium, because they are right on top of you. So when you guys were tossing down to me a couple times, I was like, man, I hope they're not asking me all these really grueling questions, because I cannot hear a word. So it's really, really cool to be there, because they are so excited for this team. Every single game, they're going to be ready for it.
Yeah, and we talked about that, like the crowd. I thought, and we can ask Coach Smith here when we talked to him, but like that crowd played a big part in that Daphne win. When they really got the energy going, it got loud, and now Spanish Fort coming in with 2 big wins over Daphne, a 3-point win there, and then a 3-point win in triple overtime over McGill. So 2 tightly fought wins in the last two against two really good football teams there too.
Even at Spanish Fort itself, we've seen games tilt with the crowd, for sure. But I don't remember. It's been a while since we experienced that, and maybe you for the first time.
Katy Perry turned the game. I think Katy Perry turned the game around, Coach.
Katy Perry was going to inspire thousands, but she did.
They started playing that, and the crowd just started going crazy, and it turned out to be a great atmosphere. We really are lucky to have some amazing atmospheres that we get to do games from here, and the Hill certainly is one of them. And I know Coach Joseph is over there and saying, like, okay, well, we'll just like to keep it kind of tamped down this week over there on the Hill. So we'll find out more about that. McGill and Spanish Fort tonight, 6A Region 1 matchup. When we come back, we'll talk to the head coach of the Yellow Jackets and also wide receiver who's going to South, already committed. We'll do that. Comes up right after this. Friday Night Rivals, our pregame show. We're here at AOC on the Beltline. Friday Night Rivals, our pregame show back here at AOC as we're back in 6A tonight. Our first chance to see the McGill Toolen Yellow Jackets is Coach Joseph here with us and wide receiver Anthony Eager going to South Alabama. Can't wait to see him. Already 7 touchdowns on the year.
McGill players, that's the freeway to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you do. You go right in. You'll be in the same meeting room with
a couple of years at South. Then you're on to the Cowboys.
Right.
Congratulations on your future.
Yeah, great start. I think 38 catches already. Yeah, it's a great year. Coach, so good to see you. And we were just talking about it. Started out the year 0-2, two tough battles. Catholic of Montgomery, right? Is that,
yes.
And then the battle with St. Paul's, and now 4 in a row. And I know you got to be like the way your team is trending right now as we hit, whether it's week 7 or week 8, Heather, I'm not sure. But, you got to like how you're trending right now.
I like our team. And I told our guys early in the summer and that I really like this team. I like the makeup of it. I like our leadership that we get, especially folks like Anthony Eager and some other seniors. And it's been a good season. We're playing well right now, and we know we got a real challenge coming up tonight.
What do you get out of Anthony Eager? All those catches, that's pretty impressive in just 6 games.
Anthony is he's a product of our program. He works. He's a believer in what we do. He shows up every day to get better, and not only is he a good football player, but a tremendous person, outstanding student, and gives us tremendous leadership.
Talk about the decision to go to South, commit to South, other than just the freeway right to being with Jalen and everybody else with the Cowboys. But talk about the process and what really sold you on going to South.
The process is really slow. Like they always had interest in me, but it was like took a couple years to offer me. But I feel great about my decision committing to South.
South has just gotten about 12 to 20 more fannies in the stands. Anthony's family shows up and your supporters. I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun for you to play games, a few square miles from where you grew up, and people coming out to the game.
It's going to be great.
Yes. Talk about matchup tonight going up against Spanish Fort. Spanish Fort, no strangers. You two, a lot of the kids know each other, young men, those things. But what do you see as you watch film at the Spanish Fort defense getting ready for the matchup tonight? What do you see out of this year's Toro squad?
They're pretty good. And I see a lot of stuff. Like I think we got it though.
When you look at this, you see, and it's especially 6A region. Like there's no gimmies, there's no off nights, and you're getting ready to head into the kind of the meat of that schedule. And I know you've had to be impressed what you've seen with the Toro team defensively as you look at what he's going to have to try to do tonight.
Oh, no question. Their defense is outstanding. There's a lot of coverages, a lot of fronts. There's a lot of things that they do to put pressure on the quarterback and to change up our blocking schemes up front, where we've got to be sharp. We've got to be smart if we're going to have a chance to play. And they have an outstanding coaching staff. Coach Smith's done a great job, and what they're doing offensively and defensively and in the special teams can create a lot of issues and a lot of problems for us.
And we talked about this before about when you're in an area that not only football means so much to everybody around here, but boy, just the chess matches that go on Friday nights between offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams matchup. I mean, talk about the kids having to be ready for the game.
Yeah.
The coaching staffs, I mean, you guys have to be ready and adjust to what you're seeing out there, matching wits against other coaches around here.
And you're exactly right. But here's the thing: we love that. I mean, that is part of the challenge. That's part of what we enjoy doing as coaches, and I'm sure Coach Smith and the other coaches in our region will feel the same way. To get into a game where there is a chess match, and you've got to battle your wits and find out where can we go attack, and how can we stop their running game or stop their passing game or whatever it may be. So we know that there's a real challenge. I will say this: you talked about our last half of the season, or these last 4 games, and we've got a tremendous schedule with Spanish Fort and Blunt and Theodore and then Saraland.
Yeah.
When I was at Mississippi State, our last 4 games, the whole 4 years I was there, was Alabama, LSU, Auburn, and Ole Miss, and we called it Murderers Row. Well, that's what we have at McGill Toolen right now.
No Egg Bowl at the end, but you got some really good games.
Yeah, and you really just kind of, when we saw this region get put together, we were like, oh wow, here this is what it looks just like the SEC down here. And I think without question the most competitive region throughout the state is 6A Region 1. Looking at this game, we talked about the atmosphere, and it's the same way at the Lip. Like when the Lip gets rocking, it's a huge home field advantage for you. They got the same thing going on there. Like I would guess you would love to not have that crowd get super energized when this one's going on.
Well, they have a great home base, and they do a good job getting the fans involved. We experienced that last year. That was my first time to experience it, and I know it's going to be the same way, especially with the big win they had last week with St. Paul's, and so we know that it's going to be a hostile crowd. And we just got to get ourselves ready and focused and see what happens later on this evening.
But you also love that, right? Love the atmosphere.
We love that.
Yeah,
we love it.
That's why we love it. So
We've been booed in Spanish Fort.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I live, right around the corner, and I've been booed there for some reason. They probably won't. If they boo you, that would be a great thing, because you have a great.
That means you're standing in the end zone
tonight. All right. When we come back, we will hear the Toros side of things as we get ready for our 6A Region 1 matchup tonight. McGill traveling across the bay to take on Spanish Fort, and we'll talk all about that coming up right after this. Friday Night Rivals as we are getting closer to kickoff tonight. Back on the hill in Spanish Fort, Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Coach Chase Smith of the Spanish Fort Toros, Willie Anderson from the Toros as well. Coach, last time we saw you a few weeks ago, we touched on it in the Open, the Daphne game, and Dan and I were both talking about this during the game. You were down 15-0, 15-0 in that game. That stop defensively you made right before the half, I don't think you win the game. You don't make that stop. I mean, I think that was such a pivotal point to hold them to no points. Then you get the 3 points on your first drive to start the second half. I mean, that was huge, maybe for the season. I mean, that was huge, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge swing, and Willie was a part of that, obviously. And they made that stand going into half, and really we had some senior leaders step up and say, hey, this, what do we want this to be? And I was proud of that. They took ownership of that. We came out, special teams, we had a kick for points for get the mojo going. And then defensively was lights out after that. They were 6 for 6, third down, getting off the field. And that's almost unheard of. So really had to stand there, and then offensively put it together, the 18 unanswered points, and just can't say enough about the grit and resiliency that I saw in the team that night. It was great.
And then you have such a game that's wild in a different way. Last week, the triple overtime win over St. Paul's. What a contrasting way to win to win that as compared to what we saw a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know how much more of those I can take. That took some coaching.
You're a little more gray around the temple this week than a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but we talked about it as a staff, and I've talked with the kids. I mean, we've experienced so many different things this season. And you sit here and as a coach, you go, man, what could we have done differently to get some of those losses, the 3 losses that were so close to there, and then you go back and you say, well, what about those wins?
Right.
Where these kids found a way, they persevered, the resiliency, the grit, just good old-fashioned grit that we talk about that was our core values coming into this season that we wanted to see, and they've displayed it, and they made it happen, and I can't be I'm so proud of what they've done up to this point.
And I think every coach would tell you, hey, I'd rather us have it deal with some adversity during the season than be tested with it the first time in the playoffs,
Right.
because then you don't know how you're going to respond. Now you've gone through it. Talk about that win over Daphne, the rivalry win, and what that second half was like for your defense. Y'all played so great that night.
Well, it was a great game, and after you make a play and shut on defense, you look at your crowd and everybody's cheering for you. Like it brings
We did
more
notice
energy.
that.
Yeah, we did.
It brings more energy. It makes you feel better. Makes you play better when you can come to the sidelines. Your teammates are cheering for you.
We really thought that, Willie. Watching that game, it was so evident. The crowd was just going bananas. You're down 15-0 to start the second half. They were behind you. They were not mad with you.
They were just waiting for that fuse to get lit.
Yeah, they were just, but it started out a little by little with the field goal. So now you're not down 15, you're down 12. But what was the feeling with the team offensively, but certainly defensively? What were you guys thinking at that point?
We just had the group together. We were just talking on the sideline about we got to set the tone right now to get the team going, get the crowd going. And then after the first shutout in the second half, it brought everybody to see that we still had a chance, that we still got it.
Yeah. You really, I mean, you did feel it was going on, and coaches can say that, and I'm sure you said all those things at halftime. But you can only say so much. You got to have your leaders step up and say, hey, like you said, senior leader said, we're not going to stand for this. I mean, you can say it until you're blue in the face, but until they do it, you're not going to get the results.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you can go crazy as a coach and do this and do that, but as I've gotten older, it's you set the tone and you say, hey, we believe in you, and now this is your platform. You've worked all week to get to this point. Take it. Let's go. We'll see what we do.
Yeah, and matchup with McGill. What do you see getting ready for this one tonight?
Yeah, they're just really, really well-coached team. They've got some weapons offensively, defensively. Defensively, just good old-fashioned McGill defense, just gritty. They run to the ball well, really physical. They're going to play you tooth and nail. They're going to give you some things up front, mix some coverages up, but they just play good old-fashioned great tacklers, and they're going to make you beat them. And then offensively, coach does a fantastic job. They give you different personnels, but just every single different formation under the sun. And we've been practicing that, and they're really, really good at all of it. You find it's not a hodgepodge and jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. They're really, really, really fundamentally sound at a lot of different schemes. And then special teams wise, obviously just well coached. Just a great coaching staff, as we see week in and week out, like you've touched on. But Coach Joe's done a really good job there.
Yeah, and that hasn't changed in 23 years we've been doing this. McGill, scrappy, get to the ball, don't beat themselves. Linebackers who always looked undersized, but yet they always make the tackle, right?
Yeah. And I knew it years before that.
Right.
And at McGill, it's kind of a tradition of we may not shock you getting off the bus, but we're going to play hard. And they've also had a scattering. They've had their Division I players as well.
Yeah.
But McGill, it's about that school and about the campus and about the togetherness of the whole school.
All right. Well, we can't wait to kick this one off. Thanks, Coach Smith. Thanks, Coach. Not Coach, but thanks, Willie. You can be a coach one day, I bet. Heather's coming up. She's going to talk with two players, and then she's going to get us ready for kickoff tonight. It's Spanish Fort playing host to McGill. 6A Region 1 matchup tonight here on Friday Night Rivals.
The high school football preview show, everybody. Before we have some fun with our players, we always have to do the Wendy's Giant of the Week. Let's get right down to it. Congratulations to Colton Nero. He's a junior middle linebacker and running back for Foley High School. He is this week's Wendy's Giant of the Week. Do you want to be this week's Wendy's Giant of the Week? If you're a junior or a senior who plays on the football team at any of the high schools in our Alabama viewing area, well, guess what? You could win. Log on to utv44.com and click on the contest page to be entered for a Wendy's Giant of the Week prize pack. Of course, rules and regulations do apply. Pretty cool prize pack, if I do say so myself. All right, I've got Anthony Eager, Willie Anderson here. So excited to have you guys. I have to go with the away team first. What are you looking forward to most you heard about the atmosphere that we talked about tonight. What are you looking forward to most playing in that atmosphere?
Hearing the crowd.
Yeah.
I love hearing the crowd cheer. I don't know. It's just something about it. It brings the game alive.
And I was telling him they're on right on top of you. So you ready for that? Okay. What about you? What are you looking forward to most playing at home?
Probably the crowd. I love seeing like everybody cheering for you when we make a big play.
Okay, and they're right on top of you too. So you ready for that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. My favorite segment, because of course it's all about me, myself, and I. Okay. But there's also some fun questions so people can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready? The rules are you cannot have the same answer, but play fair, play safe. Okay. You ready? Favorite fast food?
Chick-fil-A.
Go to order.
Chicken sandwich deluxe with fries and an 8-piece.
Yes, you and I are on the same page. 8 and an 8-piece too? Okay, what about yours?
Foosackles.
Okay, what do you get at Foosackles?
Bigger box, dipped in buffalo, bacon queso fries.
Ooh, okay, what sauce?
Ranch.
Ranch, no foo sauce?
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. Christmas, in case you didn't know, is a little less than 12 weeks away. Coach, in case you didn't know, less than 12 weeks away. Do we have our list ready yet?
Yes, ma'am.
So you already sent it? Okay,
Yes,
what about
ma'am.
you?
No, ma'am.
No, have you even started it yet?
No, I haven't even looked at it.
Oh, come on now. Well, you've been a little bit busy. I get it. If you could have a certain type of weather 24/7, what would it be?
Sunny with a breeze.
Ooh, I like that. Cool 75? Okay.
Probably cloudy with a breeze.
Why cloudy?
Probably the sun at practice, like the sun beating down on you when it's clouds. It ain't gonna be beating down on you. The breeze gonna come in. Feel
Okay,
good.
I understand. I get that. Okay, what is trending on social media that shouldn't be trending on social media?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes. Have you watched it yet?
A little bit.
A little bit of it. What about you?
I really don't know.
You can have the same answer as him.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. That's
There you
kind of out
go.
of pocket to be making stuff about that.
There we go. All right, we are officially in fall. Your favorite thing about fall?
The breeze, like the coldness. That's
Yeah,
coming in.
there's actually some sort of coolness.
Yeah.
What about you?
Haunted houses.
Okay, I like that. Okay, pumpkin spice. Are we all about it, or is it overrated?
Overrated.
Overrated.
I 100% agree. And when it comes to fall, there's also fairs. If you go to them, favorite fair food?
Probably just pizza.
Okay, what kind of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Okay, that's it?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, what about you?
Funnel cake.
Funnel cake, powdered sugar? Yes, you and I are on the same wavelength there. All right, guys, thank you so much for playing my little game that we play every week. We hope you guys play fair, play safe, and have fun this Friday night, all right? All right, until then, we'll go back to Jim and Dan, who are now up in the press box in just a few.